Hello, Amer. Welcome to our What's Your Story series, where we get our friends to come and share about their love for cars and how the journey began. Could you tell us a bit about yourself, your background, and what are some of your accomplishments so far?
Okay, so to start off, my name is Amer Harris. I'm a racing driver for Wing Hin Motorsports. I've been racing for about close to 10 years now, starting from karting. And yeah, I think it all started from just my love for cars ever since I was a kid, having my room filled with like toy cars and stuff. So up to date, I've won numerous titles in karting. And for 2023, I won the Sepang 1000 km. And looking forward to win more titles in cars.
I think this is something of a passion from your family, from your dad itself. Maybe tell us a little bit about that story.
Well, my dad has always been a huge Lotus guy. I mean, he's been through like 6 or 7 Lotuses. I don't know. I don't know why. I mean, I get him. They are lovely cars to drive. I mean, I grew up with them. But ever since he got his first Lotus, way back before I was born, actually, I think I only got to ride the car when I was like a year old. It was back in 2003, 2004. He had a purple Elise S1. Yeah, and now we also have a Elise S1, but it's not the same car. So I think that car is the one that really ignited that spark in my soul.
Okay. And maybe you could tell us a little bit about your karting journey and how you began what were the little steps and the little achievements you had within that? Because it's fascinating.
Oh, I think the karting journey started from me watching like videos of people karting, I think, and me pointing to my dad as a kid, I want to try that, I want to try that. The first ever try I had at karting was in Shah Alam. I was not even like tall enough to reach the pedals. So we had to go on the double-seater and stuff up until I was tall enough to reach the pedals, and I had to go at the cadet carts. Funnily enough, for someone who really wanted to try, I found it very scary, like driving the kart itself. And I was like, it took me some time to get used to. But what really got me going was the Lotus Club themselves. People like Oka Beng, he was one of my first coaches, people who really guided me, aside from my dad. He really gave me that push to be better, to learn more about the sport. Ever since then, I raced in the amateur clubs in KRD, in Shah Alam. And then I just went off to race Asian championships and stuff.
And I think that continued to spark your love for motorsports in a big way, right? What was your first step to motorsports from karting? How did you transition?
Karting. That's just it, you know. Because back then didn't really have much like games and stuff. Like, yeah, we had Gran Turismo, but they're very like, you know, they're not
There were no
that,
full-on simulators, right?
yeah, they're not intuitive, they're not involved in like, there's no simulators, yeah, like you said.
Okay. And from karting to the actual cars that you're driving now, how was that journey? Maybe you could tell us a little bit about that.
Well, for me, I think my age didn't really fit our COVID and MCO timing, because when I was on my way up from karting, actually, the year before COVID started, 2019, I was in the senior category for karting, and it was my first year, and I won the D2 championship in Asia, and I also won the vice champion for X30 senior. For me, for my first year in senior, it was a big thing because that year it was a very hot category. Everybody, even people from Europe came, world champions, European champions came and raced in Asia. And I did a few races in Formula 4, Southeast Asia as well. So I felt like it was my time to shine. And then COVID came. So I had to start all over again, and I lost a couple of years. And when you come back to the scene and you lose 2 years and you're like 18, and you're like, there's kids younger than you, as fast as you, and you're like, how do you do this, right? So fortunately, I had Toyota to give me the chance to join their rookie program. So I think my career restarted from there. From the rookie program, I had a lot of opportunities to showcase myself in the saloon car industry, because it's very different from karting. Like, a lot of people here think that you can be fast in karting, but saloon cars and touring cars take it's a different kind of world of driving. But Toyota gave me the platform to showcase my talent. And from then on, I got drives all over from workshops, and I started doing time attacks. So yeah, I think Toyota played a big role. And for now, also I'm driving for Toyota, which is Wing Hit Motorsports. Yeah.
That's fantastic. And if we were to go up to date for 2025, what are your plans this year in terms of motorsports?
Well, for this year, it'll be a really packed year. I think it'll be the most packed year in my career. Well, for starters, I'm doing 2 championships, and none of them are local. I will be doing the Carrera Cup Asia with Z Speed from China, and I will also be doing the GR86 Cup one make race in Japan. So that would be under Wing Hit Motorsports.
You know, for some of us old guys and old chaps that have been in the industry for a while, we're very amazed watching your progression from where you are from karting to where it is today, and you setting all the unofficial lap times in Sepang. You know, and I think kudos to you. You're a great talent, and I think I speak for most of us. I think we're very proud of where you've become, and I think what we really appreciate is that you're real about it, you know, you're humble, and you still have your roots where you are, you know. Fantastic, you know, and then looking forward to see what you achieve from 2025 onwards and on to many, many more years from here. Yeah. What's in your garage right now?
Okay, right now, like I said, my dad is a huge Lotus guy. Actually, my first car was the Elise S1. So I got that right after COVID. It was from a family friend as well, from someone that I started karting in Lotus with. It was a family friend, his name is Mr. Jack Su. Kind enough to let go the car to us at a very good deal. And we just took it out as a project car, me and my dad. So aside from that, my dad has a Lotus 311. So this car has a long backstory. I mean, it was not even supposed to be the car that he wanted to buy. Actually, he's been eyeing for the KTM X Bull for the longest time. Ever since 2010. So I remember in 2010, we went to Penang, and there was this guy that had a KTM X Bull. It was a white car. I think the plate is like PGE1. Yeah, PGE1. So we went to the guy's house, and then there's a picture of me getting in the car with Mr. Jackson's Elise S1 in the background. So like we didn't know that was gonna be my first car, and then we had it together. Yeah, that was a funny story. And my dad was just offering him like, "Can I just buy the car from you?" And then the guy said, "No, no, 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 no." And my dad was turned down. So he tried to find ways to bring the car in from somewhere else, but he couldn't. So he decided to finding a 340R or 211. Also, he couldn't get anyone to sell locally. And then Tengku Jan came up to him in 2016, I think, when they were coming out of the trade, and I was like, "Hey, Lotus is building this car. You want to come to Hattel with me and spec the car?" Then my dad's like, "I didn't even put a down payment or anything. You want me to go to Hattel with you and spec the car?" And then yeah, he spec the car and he bought it without my mom knowing, by the way. So one day he just came home, like I knew. He just came home and surprised my mom, like, and my mom's like, "You spent this much for a car with no roof?" Yeah, so that was the story of the 311. Other than that, my dad drives a GR Yaris for his daily. I don't know how he dailies that. The fuel consumption is so bad. But it's a lovely car to drive. You really need to drive it hard to enjoy the car. I think it's a really the best driver's car you can drive in the market now for its price and for what it is, the package that it has.
I think it's a very pure car.
Yes, yes. It's basically like the 6.5 TME of this era. And other than that, I have a Satranio, which was my project car.
What have you done to it?
Well, wow, many things. I mean, the brakes itself cost more than what I got the car for. Talk about engine wise, it's not pushing that much power. It's around 150 on the wheels, around 17 kilos of torque. But it's nice enough for the body, nice enough to have fun. So I had high cams on the engine, 282 high cams, high compression pistons, and then forged internals and everything. Management by Link, tuned by Mr. Calvin Ha himself from Precision Autotech. He's a very, very good tuner. I mean, like, he goes around the world to tune cars. And for him to tune my little Proton is like, you know. And then I have a straight cut gearbox. So it's a 345 straight cut. I got it from a race car. 4.3 final drive with Casco LSD, Type RS 1.5 way. And then seats that shouldn't be on the car. I have two Recaro RMSs on the side, uh, some Defi cluster just to keep track of everything, pillow ball arms and everything, suspension all fully done up. And yeah, the Brembo NASCARs, I think that's my favorite part of the car because it stops better than it goes.
Yeah, it's all about the handling, isn't it, on that car? Fantastic. And what else do you have in your garage as well?
Recently acquired, I mean, it's a BRZ. It's a BRZ, but I don't want to admit it's a BRZ. So I got a 2020 BRZ STI, which is basically a GT86. So now I've done an Origin Labo full body kit because I've always wanted to go for the 90s style for D1GP. I mean, growing up in Japan was a big influence on me. I really love their cars, their culture, watching their videos of video option and stuff. So I always wanted to express myself with cars, you know. So when I had the Neo, I expressed myself as a racer. Like, this is what I would do if I were to build a race car for the road. And then I just wanted a canvas I could have to, you know, to portray my art of drifting, drift style. So I got this car. Uh, I mean, people people always ask me like, you have two rear wheel drives at home, but they're both Lotuses. You can't do this style on Lotuses. Like, so yeah, I got the GT6 because I needed a daily as well. So that's my daily, but it's not really becoming a daily now.
Let's dive into a little bit about your story about Japan. What does Japan mean to you? And how has it influenced your passion?
Well, I mean, I think pretty much everything because, like I said, from the start, as a kid, what ignited my soul for motorsports is cars, like toy cars. And the only toy car I would collect is Tomicas. And I mean, Tomicas from Japan, right? Because I was very intrigued by the art on their boxes, and how they only cater to most of the nice like JDM cars. Like they had the RX-8. Because last time my dad had a Mazda Speed RX-8. So the RX-8 itself, then he had a 350Z Fat Lady. So I had a Fat Lady as well. Yeah, I mean, I really just love Japan because a lot of things. First of all, architecture, their landscapes, beautiful landscapes, and how every day the sunset is beautiful there.
Yes.
Yeah,
All side lighting every day, all day.
every day.
Long, deep shadows, right?
And also, I mean, Midnight Wangan, the vibes that you get from watching that, and also when you experience driving on the expressway yourself in Japan, it's something else.
Pretty epic. The scene, everything about it is fantastic. Now, knowing you as well, and understanding your own passions, there's also another possibly hidden segment that some may or may not know about you, and that's your way of expressing your personality as a filmmaker, as a cinematographer. Maybe you'd like to share a little bit about that.
Well, I mean, it all started from my dad as well because he runs a production company. He was a script writer and a director as well, and then he came out with his own his production company. So I had a lot of gears to play with. So as a kid, you always tinker around with stuff that your dad has, and the stuff that my dad has shouldn't be tinkered around with, but I still did. And then he bought me a camera. Just go ahead and have your fun. So I first started out with film photography. I had like an old Nikon film camera. It was SLR, but it didn't really, you know, fulfill my needs. So I got a medium format, which was a Mamiya, and I think that was a big mistake, a big financial mistake as a 16-year-old. And then I went to SLR again, which was I got an EOS 1N. So that really taught me a lot of things because it was practically the same as a DSLR, but you would need to learn how to expose properly and stuff. And I also learned how to wash the film, how to process the film. And then from then on, I went to digital side. So I had a 5D Mark II, which I love till now, because I really love how natural the colors look and the swirly bokeh of the old Canon lenses. So that was nice until I wanted to do it professionally, and make a living out of it. Well, pocket money. So I went to the Sony route and started making videos and cinematics. So for me, it's just a thing that I do on the side, but I really love capturing different builds around the world and meeting different people. and sharing the same love.
It's quite an amazing journey you've had. Yeah. If you could own any car, past or present, what would it be?
Man, it'll be 4 tough choices. I'll start off with the classics first. Uh, I'd have either the Mazda Cosmo Sport because of how lovely it looks, how iconic it looks, right? And also the high revving rotary. Um, I mean that car, I think, is just beautiful. It's just the pinnacle of like car design. Uh, like because before this, I wanted to study car design or industrial design as well, and that car was always my inspiration for body lines, sleek lines, and how they just link everything together. And the car next to it is the 2000 GT as well. I mean, that car, yeah, it's a unicorn. And then whoever had it from back then to now, I mean, it's better than Bitcoin, I think. It's better than Bitcoin. So for the moderns, I would go with the Carrera GT or Lexus LFA. Those 4.
You've made pretty much the ultimate motor petrolhead's dream choice already, and as difficult as it is, right? Where do you see the future of cars heading in the next decade?
Mm, I hate to say it, but EV will really pave the way. Because for now, I think the technology is getting cheaper and cheaper and easier to obtain. But I really like what Toyota is doing with the hydrogen. I think that's the way to go for us petrol heads because you still get the same feeling, you still get the same sound, you still get the same raw, but uh, you take away all the petrol stuff. Yeah, so I think hydrogen is the way, but EV would definitely top the charts.
I think it really is at the end of the day a matter of implementation of infrastructure. Yeah, that's the first mover advantage, and that's why Tesla is doing so well in the States, right? Yeah, but it's interesting to see how because you've seen the naturally aspirated, the turbocharged, the combustion engines versus, and then the whole discussion versus EVs. Yeah, but as petrol heads with the word petrol, right? We can also appreciate what EV brings in. The instant torque, the kind of power it produces in split seconds, right? It's quite fantastic. But yeah, a lot of challenges ahead. But I think we can live in this ecosystem together. We don't have to fight each other all the time, right? There's so much angst sometimes in discussions. Describe your funniest moment with your car.
I think I have too many funny moments because with my first project car with the Neo, I think there were many like little things that I didn't sort out, but I just put on all the expensive bits first. And then when I was driving around, a lot of things fall off and stuff. I think one of the funniest moments was with the car, was not with me driving actually. It was when I was overseas. So whenever I'd be overseas racing and I need to run errands with the car, like I need the car to be aligned and stuff like that, I would have one of my friends drive it. Because like, I mean, they're young, like they don't really have much to do except when they don't have classes, hey, take my car and then go this. And they're also petrol heads as well. So there was one time when my friend Elijah was driving my car, and my rear view mirror came loose. So on the Neo, so like on the center console, I have the kill switch, right? So he was driving and driving and driving, and when he was driving, the car just shut off, and he's like, "What's happening? Like he can't start it back." And then he realized the rear view mirror dropped and then broke my kill switch, and then it just shut off the car and he couldn't get it started anymore. And for you to find out throughout call, like he just FaceTime me and you're like halfway across the world and you're like, how does that even happen? Oh, that was so funny. It's like unforgettable. But if it was me driving, I think it would be my Elise S1. Uh, I think it was one of my first times driving the car out. And I parked the car outside like this, like by the roadside, and it was raining. And we were at a mamak, and I had a soft top on. So when we came back, opened the door, and the whole seat was filled with water. And the whole car was flooded, and I had to like borrow like from the mama like this thing, the scoop, and I had to go and scoop the water out just to drive back home. And then all my friends were laughing at me. I'm like, Uh, it's just like little things that makes the whole experience lively, makes you human. A lot of people would think like I'm a racer and I wouldn't go through this kind of stuff, but trust me, bro, I've been through it all. I've been through it all.
Fantastic. What do you think is your biggest passion or obsession?
For now, definitely is racing. Uh, I really love like every time I get to do a lap on the track, I really love it. Even though if it's just sightseeing lap or giving a taxi ride, I really love it. And every time I give a taxi ride, I always try to make it non-boring, like not just drive in a straight line. But racing, I mean, ever since I was a kid, that was the only thing I wanted to do. It was the only thing I was good at. So it took a lot in me to just give everything and push everything aside. So definitely that's the thing that I'm very passionate about.
We wish you the best for it. Yeah, and I think you're heading in the right direction. How has car culture influenced your life? Are there any specific movies or TV series or books that have shaped your passion for cars?
Well, definitely, I think my favorite movie about cars would be Fast and Furious, the Tokyo Drift, because of my love for Japan. From the cinematic side, I think it was not really a great movie, but the vibes that he gave, it was really different from other FNF movies. It was really just about cars and yeah. So I think, but car culture itself, not until recently it really influenced me because I was really into racing. So my car culture was just motorsports. So when COVID happened, it really exposed me to this car culture side of Malaysia and made me, meet a lot of other people. I think one of the first few people from car culture I met in Malaysia is Chan Eugene, from JDM Motolink, and he really like exposed me to a lot of people, introduced me to a lot of people. So I think like uh like now, like whenever I meet new people and they're like, hey, I know you and stuff like that, and I always think about like Eugene introducing me to people. So I thank him a lot. He's a good guy.
He's in Japan right
Yeah, he's enjoying his life, drifting Miatas and stuff. Yeah.
Let me ask you an interesting question. What would be the one thing most people would not know about you?
One thing that most people would not know about me.
We know your personality, we know your hobbies, your obsession. What's something that most of us would not know?
I think those who know me very well would know this, but the general public wouldn't. I can speak Thai pretty fluently.
Okay.
Yeah, I can speak Thai pretty.
How did that come about?
Because when I first started karting in the Asian Championships, I raced. One of my first racing teams was a Thai team. It's called Simon Racing. So I spent a lot of time with this guy. He's actually a Singaporean, and he moved to Thailand and married a Thai girl. So he's now fully Thai. So his mechanics are Thai and everything. He invited me to race actually in Thailand because he wanted to sell a kart. So he had me race that kart and win the races, and then he would sell it at a higher price. But spending time with him and being in a Thai team, the barrier, the language barrier, is very high because Thai is a complicated language and English is not a very well-versed language over there. So I kind of had to learn it. But throughout times, I also grew up with a lot of Thai friends as well from karting. Yeah.
I'm going to take you to the next segment, which is what we call the rapid fire questions. All right. You have 2 seconds to answer them. All right. Quick questions, quick answers. What's your ideal car?
The GT86.
What color would it be?
Silver. Prefer silver.
What's your ideal weekend?
Drifting at my dad's track.
Most underrated car?
Megane RS 250.
Which is more important to you, the car's interior or the exterior?
Exterior. You need to look good.
Are you an introvert or extrovert?
Introvert most of the time.
What's your favorite hobby?
Taking photos.
All right, we're at the end of the whole interview.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Enjoy your latte.
What's your story?